Hello everyone, and thank you for joining for a demo of Optmyzr. My name is Frederick Vallaeys. I'm the CEO and one of the founders here at Optmyzr, and I'll be taking the next 30 minutes to show you a couple of the things that our tool can do. So again, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know if you're managing AdWords accounts, there's a lot of work involved in that. So hopefully what I show you here over the next 30 minutes or so will help you become more efficient, and you'll earn back that 30 minutes that you spent here with me today very easily. Now, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat field in the Google Events page, and I will take a look at that at the end of the presentation and go over any questions that we have. We may also have some of our other folks from the team monitoring that feed, so if any questions come in that they can answer in real time, they will take care of that. So what I will do is I will share my screen. You should already be able to see it, and then I'll get started. So I'll give everyone a minute to confirm that you can see my screen. And if I don't get any questions that people can't hear me or can't see me, then I'll get started. All right, so here we go. So Optmyzr is about 18 months old. We launched the tool in the company at SMX Advanced in Seattle in 2013. And the reason that we launched it was that myself, I had been at Google for 10 years. I was Google's AdWords evangelist. And when I left in 2012, I decided to start managing a few accounts. And I actually found it quite a bit more manual and tedious to manage accounts well than I assumed it would be. So I started writing some scripts and I started writing some automations, and then met up with the co-founders who had independently been doing similar work. And we found we were kind of trying to solve the same problem, so we came up with the tool Optmyzr. And so in the 18 months that we've been in business, we've launched quite a few tools. So there's quite a bit to go through in today's presentation, but I'm going to really stick to the 4 major areas of the product. So when it comes to the 4 major areas, we have data insights. These are data visualizations that help you better understand what's happening in your accounts. We have one-click optimizations, and that's taking data insights one step further. So not only do we tell you what's happening in your account, but we can also make a specific recommendation about what changes we believe will benefit you, either getting you more clicks, more impressions, or more conversions, depending on what you're looking for. We also have a reporting tool. And reporting is, of course, very important because if you're working in the AdWords account, you're probably accountable to someone, whether that's a manager or whether that's a customer. And so you want to be able to share your successes with them in a fairly easy way. And for that, we have a reporting engine which can do scheduled reporting. And then the newest piece of the tool is called Enhanced Scripts. Now, this is the next version of AdWords scripts, and we've made AdWords scripts a whole lot easier to use. AdWords scripts is actually one of the first things that we put into our tool, but we figured out that they were a little bit difficult to use for many marketers, so we've removed some of the complexities and come up with enhanced scripts. So I'm going to show you an example from each of these 4 sections, and then also explain how you can get more information about everything else that's in here. So when it comes to data insights, the original tool that we built was the quality score tracker. Now the quality score tracker, what this one does is it takes a daily snapshot of all the keywords in your account that are getting some impressions on Google search, and it's downloading the quality score for that keyword and it's saving it. So now you have a historical quality score. Now keep in mind, of course, Google does not give you historical quality score. The quality score that you see in your Google account next to a keyword is the quality score at that moment in time. Even if you change the date range in the AdWords interface, you're always going to be looking at that current quality score. So you cannot find out what your quality score was last week or a month ago. So it's really hard to see if your account is progressing in the right direction. And of course, if we're optimizing, we want to figure out if Google likes what we're doing or doesn't like what we're doing. So by taking a daily snapshot, we can give you charts like this one so you can see how the quality score is progressing in that account. And you can see that there's small dips here, and then there's a little bit of an increase right here. And then you can correlate that to a secondary metric. So here I'm looking at my quality score versus my average cost per click. And I can take any other metric that I want from this drop down right here. Now also notice what we're showing you here is the account quality score. So what we do is we take the impression weighted average of all the keywords, and that gives us the account level quality score. So that's a good indication at a really high level how your account is doing. Now we also do the same thing for each campaign, and as you can see in the left here, each of the campaigns is color-coded. So if a campaign is red, that means that that campaign has a really poor quality score. Whereas the orange box means it's okay. You can see the legend right here, by the way. And if it's blue, it's gray. In this case, we don't have any campaigns that are green, so we don't have any campaigns at a quality score of 10. So there's a lot of data here. You can look at how many keywords you have at each of the different levels. The colored boxes show you what it is at the current moment in time, and the black box shows you what it was at the previous moment in time. Now, how you set these the times is up here. So you can compare any date ranges that you want, and that will change all of the values in here, of course. And then the most powerful feature of this is you can actually figure out which ad group should I be optimizing to get better results. And we've prioritized here your top 5 ad groups based on how much money they're spending and how much they're below the quality score average of the account. So you can notice here that, for example, this ad group has a really low quality score of just 4.4, and it's spending a significant amount of money compared to everything else in the account. This one is spending a lot more money, but the quality score is a little bit higher, right? But it's based on the fact that it's spending a lot of money that you may actually get some bigger benefits from optimizing this one first. And then you can click into each of these ad groups, and as you click into it, you'll get details about the keywords. This looks like it's a single keyword ad group. And you can drill down so you can say, show me just the quality score for that one particular keyword. And one thing that's cool here that a lot of people don't realize is we also capture the daily maximum CPC. So at the same time we take the quality score snapshot, we save the maximum CPC. So now you can compare what has happened to your max CPC. And here you can see that the bid was changed from $4.25 to about 50. And you can see it hasn't had a meaningful impact on the quality score. In fact, it had a little bit of a blip going up here, but then it came back down. So you can start to figure out if there's correlations between what you're doing in the account and what the quality score is that Google's perceiving. So that's one example of a data insight tool. Now, some of the other data insights that we have is the hour of the week analysis, which tells you what is your best hour of the week for advertising, and are you fully taking advantage of that? This is a difficult question to answer in AdWords. AdWords will tell you the best day of the week and the best hour of the day. But it doesn't mean that Wednesday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon is your best hour of the week, because Wednesday is your best day and 5 o'clock is your best hour. You actually have to look hour by hour in the account, and that's quite difficult in AdWords. Here we do it very quickly. And as you can see, many of our data insights tools, they allow you to select different campaigns. They also allow you to select the scope. So which networks am I looking at and which devices am I looking at? And you can also, of course, change your date range for the data that you're pulling. Now, what I find interesting here is looking at the conversion rate and comparing that to your impression share. If you have a high conversion rate, as is the case here when the blue bar is going really high, you should also have a high impression share. You should be capturing as much of that valuable traffic as you can. So here you can notice that it seems like Thursdays, and this is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you have a high conversion rate and your impression share is not that high, so maybe you could increase your bids at that time of the week. And we also visualize that a different way with color-coded boxes. And we take the 2 metrics that you've selected, put them in the left and the right side of the box. And because you want impression share and conversion rate to both be good at the same time or both be bad at the same time, you want a box that's a solid color. So a green box is a good thing. This box, on the other hand, means you have a high conversion rate but a low impression share. So that's a time of the week when you could potentially get more results by getting more of an impression share. So again, the point of all of these data visualizations and data insight tools is to really give you a different way to look at the data and understand what's happening in your account. And one cool thing is you can actually include these data visualizations in your customer reports. And I'll show that to you in just a few moments. But next, let me show you what happens with one-click optimizations. So one-click optimizations, they take this data insight to the next level. So we're not only giving you the data insight, but we're also giving you a one-click button to make an optimization to your account. When you make an optimization, it goes live in real time. There's a lot of tools in the market that make changes and they cache them, so changes don't get made aside from once a day. In our tool, once you click the button to make the change, they get pushed into AdWords in real time, and those changes will be live in a few minutes. Now, what I've done here is this is the keyword lasso. This tool works on the principle that we should investigate your search query report or the search terms report, and we should figure out if there's any queries that people are doing which you do not yet have as a keyword that might be good keywords to add. So for example, you might say, find me any queries that have had conversions. That's what I'm doing here. So I've used the drop down to look at the pre-built filter that we've set up. So show me everything that has conversions. We also have filters that look at CTR, so a higher than expected CTR. That might be a good query to add as a keyword, or you can just look at conversions. So looking at conversions now. So these are queries that people have done that have led to conversions in my account. But you look at this and you see, okay, this one had 1 conversion on 7 clicks, 1 conversion on 5 clicks. So maybe you say, all of this I'll accept, but this one only had 3 clicks. So that's not enough. I'm not sure that that's actually a good keyword to add to my account. So what you can do is you can customize the filters that we've pre-built using this dropdown. So you can say, I don't want to see anything that doesn't have at least 4 clicks. So you just put in that value, and I'm going to hit the tab key. So it recalculates the suggestion. If you find yourself constantly tweaking these filters to meet your own specific needs, you can click the button to save the filter. And after you save it, it becomes available as a custom filter in here. So whatever name you give it, now you can use it repetitively across any account that you have. And by the way, this is your account picker here at the top, so you can quickly jump back and forth between different accounts, and it will stay on the same optimization tool. So any filter that you save becomes available for any of the accounts that you manage. So if you manage multiple accounts, it's a really great way to make sure there's a consistent methodology being applied to all of those accounts. Now, the other thing is you might say, well, why don't I just do all of this in AdWords? You could use the search query report and do many of these things, but what we found is that often Google asks you to do a lot of clicks to do a simple task. And so we've built a workflow that we think is a bit faster. So for example, if you say, well, all of these suggestions based on the filters that you guys have suggested look pretty good. I like these suggestions, but I only want to use broad match modified keywords. Well, we make that really easy. We have one button here, select the keyword match type, update it, and boom, we've added pluses in front of every single word. So now when you click the button to apply this to your account, you're going to be adding broad match modified as opposed to broad match keywords. Very quick and easy to do. Let me go back here to broad match for everything and show you a couple of other things. So the other thing you notice is that as you hover over any of the keywords that we suggest adding to the account, you can actually edit that. So you could delete all of the words you don't like, and you might say, well, we don't actually sell codes. So let me add that as a campaign negative keyword. And maybe it should be an exact match campaign negative keyword. So you can quickly go through this, and you can use your mouse, but even faster is using your keyboard. So if you use the tab key, you can quickly select the settings that you want to apply to everything. And so if you're tabbing to the next one here, you can just use the space bar to unselect it and very quickly go through the account and process all of your changes. And then once you're happy with it, click that button to add the selected keywords to the account, and those changes will go live in AdWords immediately. If you wanted to do something else with this, maybe you want to download it, you can actually download the AdWords editor format of whatever you see on this page, whatever you've selected. So then you can take one further step and maybe do something else with it. Now, the other thing you might want to do is maybe you see some keywords that you don't quite want to add them as negatives or positives, but you just want to remember them for later on. So you can click on the button to add it to the notes. And every time you add it to the notes, it puts it on this little notepad, which you can then later on download and then go and do something else with it. And then finally, some of our tools have an advanced mode. And in the advanced mode for this particular optimization, we allow you to move stuff, keywords, between different ad groups and campaigns. So rather than adding the query to the campaign that triggered it as a new keyword, here you can say, well, I'm going to select some of these keywords. I'm going to unselect and maybe select these two. And now I can pick a different campaign to put them in. So I can put them in trousers, and then it's loading the ad groups within trousers. I can move these. And so now, as you scroll down this page, eventually you will find them in the campaign for trousers. So here you go. You can move to a different location. And once again, if you add it to your account, it's going to be happening in real time. So that's the philosophy we have and the methodology that we have behind one-click optimizations. Now, we have a lot of one-click optimizations, and if you're ever not sure what one of them does or how it works, you can always click on this link here in the top right and click for one of our video tutorials. And that's just a short video, usually 2 or 3 minutes, where it's me talking through how to use the tool and how the tool works. So if you're ever unsure, that's a great place to start. Now, I'll tell you very quickly what some of these one-click optimizations do. So we have a one-click optimization for deduplicating keywords. Even if you're managing accounts really well, it turns out you're probably going to have duplicate keywords. It just happens to the best of us. But instead of using a tool that just tells you what the duplicates are, this tool will tell you what is the best one to keep. Based on the statistics like quality score, conversion, CTR, it figures out what is the best one that you should be keeping in the account. It makes it really easy to delete all of the duplicates. The traffic sculptor, that's a really sophisticated one. And what this one does is it looks at the search query report and it figures out if Google is not respecting your existing keyword decisions. So it looks at the search terms report, and if it finds a query that you have as a keyword in your account, but Google wasn't respecting that keyword selection, then it recommends adding it as a negative exact match keyword. So rather than you having to proactively exact match keywords to sculpt the traffic to go to the ad group that you intended, with the bid that you intended and the landing page that you intended, you can use this tool to figure out when Google is maybe not respecting your keyword decisions and make them respect them by adding negative exacts when they're not doing it. We also find you non-converting keywords as well as one-word keywords. Those oftentimes don't work really well. But, sometimes your brand is a good one-word keyword, but in many cases a one-word keyword just doesn't perform well. We also have some bid management tools. So you can do a first page bridger. This one helps you find keywords that are stuck on the second page of the search results. But with a very small increase in bid, they could actually go to the first page. So that could drive a lot of new impressions. The conversion grabber looks at which keywords have good conversions but low impression shares and recommends an increase in the bid for those. Now, the methodology for these is quite simple. So it'll select which keywords meet the criteria of being good targets for a bid increase. And then it gives you the simple box here or apply the current bid plus some percentage. So let's give this tool just a couple more seconds here to load. Now, obviously, some of these tools load quicker or slower depending on how big your account is, but we've put in infinite scrolling so that slowness should not really be triggered by the browser itself. So sometimes we have tens of thousands of suggestions. In this case, you see it's loading 3,600 suggestions. And then we want to make sure that the browser is not getting too slow because it's having to load too many pieces of text on that page. So we'll give that a couple more seconds and then hopefully that'll go through. Anyway, but as you can see already behind that box, the first page bid can be selected right there. You can set your bid multiplier that you want to apply to increase those bids. And then the new bids will show up here on the right-hand side of the tool. And once again, you can download these changes or you can just apply them to the account. So this is taking a little bit longer than I was hoping it would. So let me continue on to maybe the next tool now. So let me go back here. So the final one I want to show you is the A/B testing for ads. This is a really great optimization. It helps you find underperforming ad variations in your account using some statistical methodology. So you can say, this analyzes every ad group in your account, and when there's multiple ads, it figures out what is the best performer on a CTR basis, on a conversion rate basis, or on a conversion per impression basis. And here we're running with a 95% statistical significance, looking at a minimum of 100 impressions, using the CTR as the deciding parameter. Now I can change this. If I want to see more results, I can change this to only a 90% confidence level, and perhaps we'll see a few additional ads in here. And so here you go. It color codes in green and in red what's either a winner or a loser, and then with a single click of the button at the top, the blue button, it will pause everything that's underperforming. You can even use the button in here in each of these ad groups to create a new ad, and we will automatically suggest the best performing ad text elements from your account to make it super easy and super quick to make new ad variations in each of these ad groups. And we also have the functionality to download any ad group that only has one active ad. And that's, of course, a great place to go and start adding some new ad text variations so that you're always testing what's happening in your account. By the way, if you run this optimization, we do recommend you do even ad rotation. You do not let Google optimize it for you. Okay, so let me show you reporting. So reporting in our system is based around templates. If you're managing multiple accounts, you want to be efficient and be able to quickly apply the same type of a report to multiple accounts. So in many cases, if you're an agency, for example, you may have some accounts that have no conversion data, some that have cost per acquisition conversion data, and others that have return on ad spend. or return on investment type information. We have 3 reports, or 1 report for each of these. And that's, of course, because we're going to include different columns. We don't want to include a CPA column for a customer who's not doing conversion tracking. Right? We recommend everybody uses conversion tracking, but sometimes it turns out they can't or they don't want to. So then we have a report that excludes all of those CPA and ROAS-based. And then clicking the button to create. But I've already created a few examples, so let me just go and show you what the report editor looks like. So the report editor is simply a list with a lot of settings, right? A lot of forms with settings. Each of these forms, though, corresponds to a visualization that will then be put onto a PDF or on a web page where the user or the person who's getting that report can see. If you're not sure what the KPI cluster means, the easiest way to figure it out is to click on the preview button, and that pulls real-time live data from your account and shows you what that's going to look like. Okay, so now you know KPI widget is basically showing your top-level metrics in a nice visual layout. And then, but you might look at what is a time-wise trends chart. Okay, so let's load that one. And you're going to see that in this case, it's going to be a chart, and it's going to be comparing 2 metrics. What's nice, by the way, is that all of these are interactive, so you can hover over them and actually get more detail. And if you share your reports with your customers or your stakeholders as a link, they will get that same interactivity. So the interactivity that you get where you can actually click on something or hover over something to get exact details about what that number is, that will be available to the people who are reading these reports as well. So simply add new widgets by clicking on any of these widgets that we have here on the left. By the way, the data insights widgets, these are the same as the data insight tools from the data insight section. So if you find yourself repetitively looking at different hour of the week reports, maybe using different date ranges or looking at mobile versus desktop, well, if you find yourself doing that repetitively, I recommend you just create a report for yourself that puts all of those variations on a single page. And so we have a bunch of audit reports. When somebody comes along and says, can you please audit what we're doing? We have a bunch of reports that pull all that data for us. So rather than having to make 10, 20 clicks in the Optmyzr interface, we just load 1 page of a PDF, and it immediately gives us all the information that we need to have access to do most of that audit. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, the other thing that's really unique and cool about our reporting is you can have as many date ranges as you wish. So a lot of the reporting solutions make you stick to a single date range. So you might be able to report on last month and maybe compare that to the month before, but that's kind of it. You can't do much more than that. With us, you can have as many date range pickers as you want. So I can just add more date range pickers, and you see how these keep getting added to the screen. So for each of these, I can set a different date range, and then each of these date ranges becomes available for every widget. So let me go back to that KPI cluster that I was showing you before. Each of these widgets has a date range picker, and as I add new widgets to the top of the page, all of them become available right here. So I can have any combination of date ranges with any combination of widgets on a single report. The other thing you can do is you can add as many account level scopes as you wish. So here you see we've got 3, but again, I can add more just by clicking on that button. And one thing we commonly do is we report the performance of the whole account, but we also report on just branded campaigns, and these we've labeled in AdWords, and that AdWords label is available here. So we just pick the label from AdWords, and then any campaign that matches that label is going to be included in that reporting section. We might include shopping ads as a separate segment, and we can even include individual campaigns if we want to do that. So we can pick from all of these. And then, as you will notice once again in the KPI cluster, so where I showed you the date ranges before, you can also now see all of these scope widgets that I've made available are available here. So I can say this should be for the whole account or for just branded. You can always click on the preview button to see what it will look like. Okay, so once you're done with this, you will exit the designer. I'm going to leave this page without saving it. And then you come back to this page. Now, you might end up having a lot of reports, and to keep this a little bit more organized, you do have favorites for every account. So you can click on this report and say, add it to my favorites. It's going to put it up in your favorites section, and the favorites are different for every account that you maintain. So that makes it a little bit easier to find the reports that you really need to pay attention to for this particular customer. Now, the other thing you can do is you can click on the reports that you've built, And you can, of course, edit it, but now I'm just going to go into preview mode. And now it's pulling the data in real time from AdWords, and that will load up. And then once you've got that page loaded, the next thing you can do is you can share all of this with a customer or a stakeholder. So let's see if this page will load here in just a second. I think this one is just pulling a Google map right now, and that sometimes takes a little bit longer. But once you've loaded it up, you'll be able to add comments to every section of the report. And you will also be able to share it as a PDF or share a link with someone. And you'll be able to schedule it. So you could say, I'm going to schedule this report to go out on the 5th day of the month, every month, and then you can put in whose email it is. Okay, so there we go, Google Map loaded. Now, if you're going to be printing this, keep in mind all of these widgets are interactive until you print them. So I'm zooming in here. It's pulling fresh data, which will unfortunately take a couple more seconds. But whatever you leave this at, this is what's going to appear on the PDF. So you can really zoom in and out to show your customer exactly what it is you want to show them. All of these, like I said, interactive. So you can click on them and get more information, which is really cool if you were to share this with the customer as a link as opposed to a PDF. Now here you can say some comments for the customer. Okay, so we're only running ads in the US is what we're saying, so maybe that's what they're interested in. So you can leave a note for that customer. You can leave notes on all the different sections, by the way. So then you come to report action. So now you can say, save a snapshot. When you do that, it goes into a snapshot section, and then somebody else on your team can come in and make further tweaks to it. You can generate a report link, which you can email to someone. You can download or email the PDF, or you can do scheduling. Scheduling is really flexible, so you can even do multiple dates of the month. You know, just click as many as you want, and on all of those dates at those specified times, the report will go out to whoever you identify. So I'm going to go out of that. So that's what reporting looks like. And by the way, the snapshots, they live up in here in this section. And then under more, that's where you get your email history of reports, as well as any scheduled reports that you've set up. Okay, so then the final section that I want to share is enhanced scripts. So enhanced scripts is how we've made AdWords scripts easier to use. If you've used AdWords scripts, you know you need to do a few tweaks in JavaScript code to make a script perform exactly the way that you want it to perform. Even a simple script like this one, for example, that just reports the account level quality score, you probably want to do different things for different customers. So in this case, rather than having to go into the JavaScript code to say who's the customer, who needs to get an email about this, now you can come into a little form, and that form is very simple to fill out. There's no JavaScript code here. If you're not sure what something is asking for, say Sife API endpoint, you've never heard of Sife API endpoint, you don't know what that is, so you just click or you hover over the question mark, and it tells you exactly what that piece of information is asking for. And we do that for all of the fields. So here it tells you if you wanted to send it to multiple email addresses, simply separate them with a comma. So it makes it really easy to use. Now, once you save the settings, it gives you this button here to download the script code. The script code is static. You can copy that into an individual AdWords account, or if you want to run it at the MCC level, you can go to the settings here and download the MCC version of that same script. Now, the beauty is once you've copied and pasted that script code into AdWords, you can run it from there, but you never have to change it again. If you say, hey, well, I actually don't want to run a report for you, just come back here, you change your settings to last 14 days, you save it. Even though it says download again, you don't have to do that. You've already installed it. You only have to do the installation once. So the next time the script runs on AdWords, it talks to Optmyzr and it says, hey, Optmyzr, for this particular account, what are the settings we should be using? And then it looks at those settings, it uses those to run the report, and it will put it into the log section right here. So from that log section, you can pick up either the output of what was the quality score for the account, or you can get a link to a spreadsheet that has all of the information that you were trying to pull. So we have a couple of scripts here, and we're adding more every week, but we have one that checks destination URLs to make sure that destination URLs are not broken, so don't have a 404 error, but you can even check for the presence of a certain phrase of text on the page. So for example, if you're a retailer and you don't want to run ads for any landing page that says no products in stock or no products found, you can actually put that in as a piece of text to monitor right there. So if it finds that piece of text on the page, it's going to disable that keyword or that ad. You can put in whichever text you want in here. So you have that one. We have create ads from a spreadsheet, which is a really great way to take a spreadsheet with all your product or service information and automatically generate an entire campaign with beautifully structured ad groups, keywords, and ad text that's using a template that you've defined using the data that's in your spreadsheet. So for example, if you're selling cars, and every time you have a new car that comes into the inventory, you can just add a new line with what the make is, the model, the color, the price, how many miles that car has, and then you can use all of those elements automatically to insert into the ad text or into the keywords. And so you can make really well-structured campaigns using that. We can report hour-by-hour stats. We can report on different parts of your ads. So for example, you might be using the same description line too in many ad texts that you have. Each individual ad group may not have enough data for you to make a decision what is the best performing variation. But if you aggregate all the stats where it's using that same description line too, you might get enough data. So that's what this does. It aggregates the data for all the common phrases that you're using in your ad texts. And we've got a number of other scripts here. So you can always check those out by just taking a look at the link on that blue information button. So that's an overview of what Optmyzr does. We also have the main dashboard. That's what you first see when you log in. Make sure that you check out the favorite section in that. You can do before and after comparisons. So that's like a super powerful way, variation of the MCC dashboard that Google has. So we've added a couple of functionalities to that. I can't show this to you today, the new enterprise level dashboard, because it's still under development. But we're very close, and we're pulling in Google Analytics data. We can pull in any custom data that you want. So if you're interested in having like an MCC level dashboard for all of the accounts you manage with any information or any details you want on that one dashboard, shoot us an email. You can shoot me an email at frederick@optmyzr.com, or you can just use the help section, submit a ticket, and we'll get back to you and we can do a one-on-one demo and talk a bit about what you want to see on this custom dashboard. And so that's the overview. Let's see if there's any questions. And otherwise, thank you for attending and taking a look at our product. And we hope you enjoy it, and we hope you'll become customers of ours. Thank you so much.